Hello time travelers! Are you getting bits and bytes errors in Kohya and you can't seem to figure out how to fix it no matter what you try? Or are you having a difficulty and problems with the new version of Kohya that just came out? Well, I'm going to show you a couple ways that you could fix it in this video. I was having all kinds of problems trying to use W14 captioning on one of my computers that I have Kohya installed on, and I couldn't seem to get to fix it no matter what I tried. I even tried deleting the venv folder, which is right here, and then running the setup again to force it to reinstall all of its dependencies. But then after that, it got worse. It wouldn't even train. I even deleted Kohya and installed it again, and it still didn't fix it. This is my look of disapproval. Raff in my Patreon Discord channel figured out how to fix his issues by installing an older version of Kohya. I had been having my problem for a couple of weeks, and I was about to try Raff's solution, but then Crudix Creo, also in the Discord, was having problems with my LoRA training batch script when he updated to a newer version of Kohya. In my script, he got this error. Train network pi does not exist on the Kohya path folder. That's because my Kohya LoRA training batch script, make sure that you gave it the right folder so that it can find this to run the batch. So in order to fix his problem, I had to install the newer version of Kohya, figure out what it was doing, and update my script to support, both versions. And all the errors were fixed because I could do captioning. But the GUI is completely different, and it's confusing, and it's missing stuff. This is my look of disapproval. All right, if you came here to see how to set up and use the new version of Kohya, and you're not really interested in the old one, that's fine, whatever, but I'm gonna show you a few little changes about it. And maybe you're gonna see this and go, oh man, I really wanna run the old one. In the old one, it had a folders tab up here, but that's gone. It's right here, and you can't collapse this top one, but your base model of whatever you're doing, like in this example, I have it set up to use SDXL, base model, and your output name is over there, which this used to be in the folders section. This is your image folder for training images. And then you've got folders way down here below all of that, and it only has 3 in there, so you're familiar with having 6 boxes, with 4 for folders, and then the output name on the bottom left, and then on the bottom right was the training comment. So I've already got my head spinning trying to figure this out. And all your parameters are the same, except if you keep scrolling down, your advanced and your samples tabs are now inside of that. So the more things you expand, the farther away the part for saving or opening a config file get away from you. This is my look of disapproval. This needs to stay at the top. Always have save options at the top. Every other software in the history of mankind has had to file open and file save and save as stuff at the top. And speaking of save as, this is a refresh. There's no tooltip. Hover my mouse, there's no tooltip. There's an open, a save, and a undo maybe? I don't know what that does. But there's no save as. So let's say I would change something about this. I want to save it to a new file or to a new folder. The only way is to type this out or paste it in completely correct what you want it to be, and then hit this little save icon. This is my look of exasperated and also look of disapprovals. So if you're new to all of this and you've never installed Kohya before, then you need this section because I'm going to tell you what dependencies you have to install first. First, I recommend Python 3.10.11. Kohya supports a broader range of versions, but if you ever install any other AI stuff, this is a good version because they all seem to like this version for whatever reason. Use the link that I put in the script box of what's it below. Scroll down, way down. You want the Windows installer 64-bit. When you're installing it, you're going to see this screen. Make sure you check both of these boxes. All users means it goes into C program files instead of your user profile folder. Not really going to get into it, but that will help you in the future. And check this box that says add Python 3.10 is what yours will say, to path. This makes it so that when a program asks to run Python, it knows where to find it. And then you're going to want to install Git. Again, this is linked in the description below. Hit Windows, 64-bit Git for Windows setup. Save that wherever, and when you run it, don't worry about it. Just hit next through all the things. Kohya also needs this version of Visual Studio, which has these versions all packed together as one thing. I'll have this linked in the description, you know what it is below. You scroll down, and you want the one that says X64. Download this to wherever and run it, and again, it's another thing you just hit next, next, next through. You don't have to worry about changing any settings. And after that, it's really important that you restart your computer. Most folks will have a setting in Windows which is called Quick Restart, which doesn't actually restart the computer if you leave any programs open. So if you have anything that you're working on, save it and close everything. Every single little thing has to be closed out and then restart the computer. The reason why is because this setting from Python does not apply until you have a full restart. All right, in this section, I'm going to show you how to install an older version of Kohya, which is the newest one before everything went haywire, which is version 22.6.2. You need this either if you're getting crazy errors and you wanted to try this version, or you tried the new version of Kohya and you're having problems with that, whether it's technical problems or the GUI is just wrong. This is a computer where I was having problems and I fixed it. As you can see, my old Kohya is in there, and there's the new version, and there's this specific older version right there. If all you care about is installing the new version, then you could skip to that section in the video. But I'm going to show you on this other computer how to do it. I keep all my Stable Diffusion stuff together in a folder that's just named Stable Diffusion. Some folks like to type CMD up here so that you can get the command line window open to this folder. I don't like to do that, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. The best way that y'all should learn, because it's going to create a good habit, is hit Windows button R, and you'll have the run box, and put in CMD and press enter. Move this down so you could see this up here. Type CD space /D space double quote, and then you're going to copy paste that path over and press enter. Now I'm in that folder, and I'm going to do make dir, which is create directory, put a double quote, and I'm going to type Kohya _ v22.6.2 double quote and press enter. Why am I doing that? So I can remember in the future which folder is which, in case I have more than one. Or even if I just have one, I can remember, oh yeah, I installed this specific version for something. Now press up on your keyboard and you're going to have that same command again. Press home and then delete off the make dir and type cd. You're going to go to the Kohya repo on GitHub, which I have linked in the descriptive thing below, obviously. Hit this green code button, and then this copy button next to the URL. Go back to this command line window you were working in, and type git clone, and then a space, and then paste in that URL. And then you're going to type cd, and then K, and press tab to autocomplete, so you're in that folder. Now before you run setup.bat, you need to run this command. Patron subscribers at level 2 or 3, you can read this document and copy paste this out of it. Everyone else, say you're not paying me for access to Patreon, then you'd better pause the video and write this down. For me, I'm just going to copy paste this over, just like that. And it says head is now at whatever version that I just defined. This section you probably won't have to do unless you're still getting bits and bytes errors. Then I'm going to show you how to change the version of bits and bytes. Completely delete your Kohya folder and rebuild it again, clone it again, and then Raff on the Patreon subscribers Discord, he had to change his bits and bytes to 0.41.0, but I didn't have to. For him, it was probably a case of doing a lot of troubleshooting, but when I tested it, I saw that Kohya version 22.6.2 was using bits and bytes 0.41.1, which is only one version newer. How you do it is first do the git clone, then the git checkout to the specific version that I said already, and then you have to edit the requirements for Torch. And here's the command. Basically, you're just opening this TXT file with Notepad, and I'm just going to paste it in right here, and it's right here. He changed it from whatever version it was to 0.41.0, just like that. So you would hit Control S and then close it. Now you want to type setup.bat and press enter and choose option 1, which is install Kohya. This takes a few minutes, so you can walk away and do something and come back, but it's not forever long. When it's done getting all the stuff it needs, you may or may not see these red warning things, by the way, but it's basically seeing that I had the wrong version of certain things installed, and it was installing the versions of those things that this version of Kohya needed. This is me from the future. No. If you see any of those red text things right here when it's trying to install the different versions, you need to delete your Kohya folder and start over because you did something out of order. But after all that, you're going to have some options you have to choose, and the first one is this machines. So you can just press enter for that, and then you press enter for no distributed training. Now see if you want to run your training on CPU only, and you type NO and press enter. Do you want to optimize your script with Dynamo? NO, enter. Do you want to use deep speed? NO, enter. GPUs by ID that you should be used to do training, you're gonna type all, press enter. And for this option, it doesn't really matter. You can just press enter for no. FV16 is for older GPUs, and BF16 is for the newer RTX cards. But you can choose these in drop downs later, so it doesn't matter. And then you get to here. And this optional one is for installing CUDNN files, which only the 3000 and 4000 RTX cards support. So here's my Google Drive folder that Patreon subscribers get. If you're tier 3, you get that. If you're tier 2, you get that stuff. Here's the undocumented solutions folder where I put different documents for tier 2 or tier 3 to find. For example, the script for this video will be in there later when I'm done filming the video. But if I go into tier 1 and free stuff, so even free Patreon subscribers get to see this stuff. You want to download this RAR file here. So I'm going to download it. Download it anyway. And I'm going to put it in the AI stuff, and then stable diffusion, and Kohya SS, and just drop it right there. What this is and why I had to put it in the freaking Google Drive. You have to install this weird package from NVIDIA and then find the files within folders and then separate them out and then put them in another folder for Kohya. All right, once it's downloaded, you just open it up and you've got this folder in there that says CUDNN Windows. Just drag that out and make sure you don't drag it on top of one of these other files or folders. So just put it next to them in this white space to the left. And then it's going to extract everything. So now you have this folder inside of your Kohya_SS folder. Go back to this setup thing and choose install CUDNN files. And that gives you a performance boost for RTX 3000 and 4000 cards. Now we can type option 6 to quit. Now type notepad GUI.bat. Now this is the thing that launches Kohya. And I'm going to copy paste this whole folder name over here. I'll show you what's going on. I'm going to type title and then paste that in. And then hit Control S to save it and close it. Now when I type GUI.bat to launch Kohya and press enter, the title bar is going to say Kohya at the top. So then when I go through all these different command line windows of different stuff I've got going on, I know which one's Kohya. All right, in this section of the video, I'm going to show you how to install the new version of Kohya. I recommend that you have a stable diffusion folder, just named stable diffusion with no space, so you can keep like your automatic 1111 and your Forge or whatever else that uses stable diffusion in together and organized. And I'm going to open up command line to this folder. I do not like typing CMD up here like some other YouTubers do, and I'm not going to get into the reasons why. Hit Windows button R on your keyboard so you have the run box and type CMD and press enter. Move it down so it's underneath the address bar like that. Type CD space /D and then a space and then a double quote. Grab that by copying it and paste it over here and press enter. Now type make dir, which is the command to make a folder, and then a double quote, and then KOHYA_new. Or you can just have it just KOHYA, whatever you want. I like to have _new because during the transition of me going off of the old GUI to the new one, I want to know which one is which. And then CD into that folder by typing CD and then a space and then type that out. This is the Kohya repo on GitHub. Obviously, I'll have this linked in the descriptive thingy below. You hit this green code button and then the copy button next to the URL. And you're going to type git clone, and that's a space between git and clone and the space at the end of that. Paste in that URL and press enter. This only takes a few seconds if you have fast enough internet, that is. See, it's already done. Now you got a CD into the Kohya folder it made. And type setup.bat. Now you're going to see this menu, and you are just going to want to type the number 1 for install Kohya and press enter. This takes a few minutes to run, so walk away and go live your life. But it isn't a whole very long time, so maybe go do a couple things and then come back and check on it. Then you're going to get to this part where you do a bunch of configurating, and when you see it says this machine with the star next to it, you just press enter. And then enter for no distributed training. And it says, do you want to run your training on CPU only? No, because that would be super slow. Type no and press enter. Do you wish to optimize your script with Torch Dynamo? Type no and press enter. Do you want to use deep speed? Type no and press enter. What GPUs by ID should be used? You're going to type all and press enter. And for this, FP16 is older like GTX cards. BF16 is your RTX cards. But I like to choose no for this so that the drop downs are at no for default. But when you're going to do a training, you need to know to choose those options anyways, depending on your setup. Now, if you have RTX cards that are 3000 or 4000 series, you're gonna want to install the optional CUDNN step. So this is a little sneak peek at my Google Drive folder that I have available for free Patreon subscribers. Yes, there's a fourth secret Patreon tier on my Patreon. You've got your levels 1, 2, and 3, but there's also a free one. In the free stuff folder, you're going to go to cudnnwindows.rar, go over on the right, hit download on that, download anyway. In my case, I'm going to drop it inside of this Kohya new folder. I already have WinRAR installed. You might not even need it, but WinRAR is the best for extracting the contents of .rar files anyways. But anyways, open that up. And also open up your Kohya_SS folder, and you want to drag this folder over here. Do not drag it on top of a file or on top of another folder. You want it over here in the gap in between. And as you can see here, it extracts all the contents. And look here, I have my Kohya_new folder, and then Kohya_SS, and then CUDNN_Windows is inside of there. Now it is safe for me to do option 2, and this just takes a couple minutes. When that's done, you're going to do the last option down here for exiting. So for me, it's number 7. You're going to type notepad GUI.bat. After it says echo off, you're going to type title in all caps, and then a space, and then Kohya_new. Or you can just leave it as say Kohya, but I recommend you put something there so that you know, and I'll show you what it does. It changes the title of the title bar, so that when you have multiple command line window things open, you know what's open in that one. And obviously I hit Control S to save this before I did that. I forgot to mention that. And it's running on this local URL. You can copy this, or in Windows 11, just click it or whatever it does. And I'm going to paste it over here. And if you run Forge or Automatic 1111, it'll be the same URL they use. All right, this section is just a quick self-promo thing. Starting with this video, I'm starting to put my scripts into a folder for my tier 2 and tier 3 subscribers on Patreon. It's called Undocumented Solutions. It's a joke about how so much things in the world that we need to know how to do the steps to do something are undocumented. It's not in there yet, but while I'm editing this video, I'm going to put this script in there. Oh, look, I just put it in there. I mean, look it. Just look it. It's there. I didn't wait until I was editing my video to put it there. Another way to support the channel is to go to my recent skit video called The Scary Hour. I used all these various AI tools to make the video because unlike some YouTubers who just talk about you can use this AI tool to do this or this one to do that and maybe you can make videos with these things, I actually do it. You can click the card up here to see that video, or it'll be linked in the description, you know what I'm talking about thing box below. Speaking of supporting the channel, here's something that's gonna make you tell me, shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take my money.
This is my GitHub repo. I'll have this link down below and you know what I'm talking about. Go over to LoRA Training Batch Converter. Open that up. What this is a tool to help you do multiple trainings in Kohya and put them one after another so you can let your computer run for many, many hours and do each trainings in sequence. So go over here at the green code button, and then download zip. When you open it up, you've got this folder. And inside of that is another folder. This is the folder you want. I recommend to go inside of your Stable Diffusion folder and create a new folder called Training. I'll go ahead and do that now. And then move this LoRA Training Batches out. Open that up, and you have this VB script file all by itself. Double click that, and it tells you that you needed to have this text file, and it makes it for you. So I have the new GUI set up with one of my basic configs that are on my Patreon. And we're just going to use this as an example. Let's say you have a whole training setup down there. You just, in the new GUI or the old one, you scroll all the way down the bottom, hit print training command. Then in the console, you'll see the training command like this. Sometimes you'll have a double quote at the end. So make sure you get the whole thing by going all the way down and hit Control C to copy it. Go back to your LoRA Training Batches folder, open up your LoRA Training command.txt and paste that in. Hit Control S and press enter a couple times. Let's say you had that training set up and you wanted to try another one with something different in it. For example, advanced and then gradient accumulation steps. Let's say you wanted to try a 5 instead of a 3. Change that to a 5. Go to where the config file thing is and put gas_5. You need that to be different. Hit save and find your model output name, _gas_5. Go all the way to the end because the stupid new GUI has it at the end. Hit save. Hit print training command. We're going to copy this one over as well. And put it after that one. Press enter a couple times. Hit Control S to save it. Got to make sure there's at least one blank line in between these so they don't run into each other. Otherwise, the script, when you run it later, will think this is all one command. Close that. Now come back here and you're going to right click this and hit edit on the VB script. And when below is 11, it's another option down here that says edit with notepad or something like that. And you have to change the path to where Kohya is. So in my case, this is the new version of Kohya. And this is the whole path to it right here. I'm going to copy that over to here and paste it right here. And hit Control S to save that and then close it. Now I can run this. And it creates this batch file. If I right click that and hit edit, this top section loads Kohya the same way Kohya normally does, but then it immediately tells Kohya to do these trainings. As you see, because we changed the output name of each, this title part will change the title of the command line window. So if you check on your computer, it'll say 1 of 2 or 2 of 2 or maybe 15 of 36. I don't care how many of these you run in sequence, but make sure you have enough hard drive space for everything that's gonna make, lol. Whenever you're ready to run the training, you just run this by double clicking it or whatever. If you have different ones you want to save for later, you can always hit F2 and rename it. Like Billie Eilish SDXL testing, for example. All right. Now it's time for the end screen. If you don't know how to train LoRA yet, then you can get started by checking out this video right over here. And once you've got that down, if you want to learn how to train a LoRA for SDXL, then you're going to want to check out this video over here for the changes in the Kohya GUI. And you can subscribe to the channel right here and check me out on Patreon over here and support the channel with some dollary dues. Thank you so much for all the patrons. All right, bye.